Now to education in the era of artificial intelligence. ChatGPT's release late last year sparked concerns that students would use the AI chatbot to do their homework or take their tests. Turns out they are, and there's usually no way to tell. It's also not going anywhere. Now many educators are starting to embrace artificial intelligence as a possible teaching tool. Joining us live to discuss is Dr. Joseph Atman, founder of the local education nonprofit Middle Tree. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's get straight to it. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of AI's impact on education. Like, how could chatbots like ChatGPT actually be benefiting students' learning and to teachers?
Yeah, some of the benefits I think is that if we use AI as a tool and a guide, something that kind of helps to improve the foundation of what we already know, it can be incredibly useful. It's convenient, right? ChatGPT, AI, these AI software programs, they can be accessed from anywhere with just an internet connection. It can personalize your learning. It can save you a lot of time, right? As for the cons, how much time do we have to talk about that?
Well, what do you think the top cons are?
Um, Students no longer, in a nutshell, they really don't have to know how to write. They really don't know how to they don't have to know how to research anymore. There's this socio-emotional aspect that we need human to human contact that we saw very clearly demonstrated with distance learning. But I think that the biggest one really is that if we rely too heavily on AI and on technology, it really kind of takes away our own human capacity to sort of think for ourselves, to be creative, to interact with the world in our own minds directly. And that's sort of the beauty about being a human being, is it's the discovery that we're not always we're seldom perfect. And there's great lessons, there's great value in our failures, but those kinds of things only come through experience and direct interaction with knowledge. Because when you say, tell me about something, it's not learning in its highest form. You're taking in information from what you perceive to be as an authority figure, and we only really truly learn when we engage with the subject, and we want to preserve that engagement. At least I think we do, and that level of curiosity and discovery that only happens really in true education. So.
Yeah, I mean, pretty scary to think about the future of education. I mean, students not really learning if they're relying on all of this AI technology. Do you think critical thinking could be something that's just kind of lost with this next generation?
Well, I could think you could make an argument that critical thinking is being lost at a pretty good pace right now, given the way that we set up our own education system as it is currently. I can tell you this though: whatever we imagine about AI, the reality of it is going to far outpace what we think about it here and now today.
Yeah. Now, older generations, I should say, we grew up totally different back in school. Is there something that this younger generation with AI will gain as compared to others?
That's a really good question. I mean, again, if we use it as a tool, as something that enhances what we are, is something that can kind of push back on us, and try and be as human as possible, there could be potentially great value in that. There really could. But again, I think we as educators, we want to preserve that human centeredness. Then again, maybe this is just a part of the next stage in our human evolution, is that we sort of merge with the machine. And again, that's a whole other topic as to the value of that. But I mean, this could be a great and wonderful tool for teachers and students alike, depending on how we do ultimately choose to use it.
Are teachers using it already, or how do you think they could use it in the future?
They are using it a little bit. There's a lot of resistance, I think, generally to it for obvious reasons. But some are, as you mentioned earlier, there's kind of no way around it at this point. So so it's kind of like that old adage: if you can't beat them, join them. And that being said, I think that teachers are going to have to try and figure out how to use it effectively, and use it as a tool rather than resist it, because I truly don't see how we are going to stop it as educators. So we're going to have to figure out some sort of happy medium.
Yeah. And Middle Tree offers tutoring, SAT prep, college prep. Are you guys making any changes to your programs to include AI?
Yeah, we do. We do all of those things. That's been a really big debate within our own organization. We have been kind of, talking about that ever since we heard about it, like everyone else. I think that the changes that we're making, again, is sort of like what I talked about, is trying to embrace it, trying to encourage our students to, again, just utilize it as a tool. But we still really want to harp on us being human centric, and making sure that that our students understand that value of that human centricity, and that the value of sort of those old school, no pun intended, tools that we use every day, but that writing capacity, the way that we research, just those foundational skills have to still be implemented in what we do from our day-to-day lives.
Dr. Joseph Atman, thank you so much for all that perspective. Very interesting.
Thanks, Tony.
All right.